The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Leela Rhodes and I'll be your moderator today. Thank you so much for joining us here at Netcom Learning, a market leader in promoting lifelong learning, training, and talent development solutions. We are very excited to host today's masterclass, Microsoft Windows Server Hybrid, Core Infrastructure and Advanced Services. And presenting today's topic is Usama Khan. Osama is a senior technologist and international speaker for enterprise cloud technologies. He has more than 15 years of experience in the technology industry. He has been awarded a Microsoft MVP numerous times, as well as has been recognized for the prestigious MI Award by his peers for the past 8 years. Osama provides solutions and training for design enterprise application development architecture, training, document management solutions, and more. Now, please bear in mind that this is an overview of a very robust topic, but we do offer a collection of technical and business courses that can be tailored toward your specific requirements. So if you're interested in a further discussion about any of those, you can make an appointment with our learning consultants through our website at www.netcomlearning.com. Netcom Learning helps customers build innovative learning organizations by achieving a smarter workforce, adopting change, and driving growth. And we do this with a broad catalog of offerings, developing customized learning plans, and our global delivery capabilities. Since 1998, we have been empowering organizations with our managed learning services to help them reach optimal performance results and address challenges. We have 9 practice areas in which we specialize, and they encompass people, process, and technology training. Today's presentation is from the networking practice area. Netcom Learning offers a comprehensive training portfolio for networking courses, and our upcoming classes include various trainings on AZ800, AZ801, AZ104, and many more. Our private training to teams is also available, and those learning plans can be customized to the specific needs of that audience. You can also access a variety of network marketing assets, such as the free 2-hour training, by clicking on the available webinar handout. And these offerings can also be found with a simple search on our website. So in this masterclass today, we will help you build your team's skills in administrative Windows Server 2022 hybrid core infrastructure, deploying and managing Active Directory domain services, configuring Windows Server Hybrid Advanced Series, and more. Now, I do just want to give you a quick overview of the logistics before we get started today. To start with, you have the option to adjust the window size to your liking. You can simply hit the escape key and find the zoom button on the top left corner of your GoToWebinar viewer. Everyone has been muted except for the presenters, but you can feel free to submit any questions you have for the presenters in the questions panel, and we will address those at the end of the session today. Also, to get the best out of today's session, we have included the slides, courses we've talked about, and marketing assets in the handout section of your GoToWebinar viewer. So you can refer to those to get a better understanding of the topic. Also, we would like everyone to know that we realize your schedules are very busy, and some of you may have to jump off of this webinar early. I want to let you know that today's session is also being recorded, so you will get free access to the recording in the next 24 hours via email. But I did want to make you aware as well that as you leave today's webinar, you will be asked to participate in a short survey. And if you'll just take a quick moment to fill that out, it really does help us understand what your learning experience has been and improve for our future sessions. And this is based on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being outstanding and 1 being poor. So we really appreciate you taking the time on that. And now, without any more delay, I'm going to go ahead and pass the time over to Osama to present today's topic. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Leah, for great introduction, and welcome everyone on board. Let me just share quickly my screen. If you guys can see my screen, please let me know.
I can see it.
Thank you. Thank you for the great introduction. I just like to welcome everybody on the board. I hope so you guys able to join us and now comfy to get started, right? to explore the opportunities that is hidden inside the Windows Server. This classroom is basically encapsulating two major topics out there: the advanced services for the configuration for the core infrastructure by using modern Windows Server, and also a core practices. So what are the core infrastructure components in a hybrid environment that we can configure by using modern Windows Server, which is basically in our case 22. So Windows Server 22 offers numerous services that one can use for implementing hybrid topologies and fulfill organizations' needs. It's a very vast topic. We try to summarize the highlights of that one. And this topic or this particular webinar is a path towards the continuous learning, which basically enhance the furthermore skills of yours by using hands-on lab that offered by the Netcom with their numerous courses and a different kind of Microsoft offerings as well. I already been introduced by my friend, so I'm not going to spend much time here. Just like that, I'm a father of two beautiful, gorgeous daughters, and that you can see on the right-hand side, and published author as well. So if anybody after the classroom have any specific questions after the webinar, feel free to have a conversation over the Twitter. I use Twitter accounts only for technical communication, so nothing political, or it's totally apolitical or religious accounts. So let's quickly jump into our today's agenda. So we're going to talk about two major topics today. Number one, we're going to talk about administrating Windows Server 2022 in a hybrid environment for the core infrastructure. What is core infrastructure? We divide core infrastructure into three different categories: identity, compute, network, and storage. So these are the four major areas where you basically have to establish a different component based on an organization or workload requirement that can be established or managed in a hybrid situations. One of the most important part of Windows Server offering is Active Directory domain services that does access from almost from 2003 and onward. And I believe that everybody at this point had heard at least about what is Active Directory. And we're going to talk about that, how we can implement Active Directory, what are the options out there, and some basic fundamentals about it. Then we're going to talk about the virtual machines and containerization as well, because Windows Server administration, along with an Azure, give you an opportunity to manage a hybrid environment for containers and virtual machines. Windows have the built-in hypervisor, a mechanism or virtualization engine that can help you to host virtual machines at scale and very securely. Then we talk about the hybrid topology for the networking. That's one of the most interesting topic of our conversation, hybrid networking. General networking features, you guys might be aware of it, that offered by the Windows, and that you can also cover that one in AZ 800 if you guys plan to take one, and where they have detailedly discussed about the Windows features such as DNS management, DHCP management, and other fundamentals that can help you to implement dynamic routing and network traffic management by using Windows Server. However, in a hybrid situation, there are lots of things that we have to cover from Azure side. So we're going to explore that how Azure, Microsoft Azure Cloud, and Windows Server can talk to each other in a hybrid networking situation. What are the components or fundamentals that we have to know? Then we're going to talk about the file services. Azure also offers a couple of file services. We're going to talk about Azure files here. We're going to talk about what are the options that we have that we can manage virtual SAN. We can talk about SCSIs here. So different type of storage solution that we can manage on the Windows Server 2022. To be specific, it is not very specific to 2022 because onward 2016, it's in a continuous improvement on the same architecture. So there's not much architectural changes that you have witnessed in the last version of Windows Server. So it's just more like a buzzword. Sorry. Second half of the topic, we're going to talk about the securing infrastructure, implementing high availability, implementing DR, and migrating server workload to the cloud, and establishing a modern and hybrid strategy for troubleshoot and also monitoring. So that how we can leverage Azure Monitor, how we can work with Azure Site Recovery, and implementing also Azure Site Recovery and other tools to move in the cloud, and what are the fundamentals we have to follow. So that's what we have at the menu. I hope so it's pretty entertaining. So without any delay, let's jump into it. So the first thing that we get started here, it's Windows Server administration. That how we can administrate Windows Server 2022. And what are the core hybrid infrastructure out there? So when it comes for administration, we do have some legacy tools like Windows Server Manager and different tools does exist out there to use the different components in Windows Server Manager, PowerShell, and these tools are still accessed and still very valuable out there. Since this course is trying to find out the more highlights of the new modern Windows Server and their offering out there, and especially that can suit to the cloud hybrid needs. So the two products that we're going to talk about in this classroom is Windows Admin Center and Windows Admin Center in a hybrid mode. So how you can use a Windows Admin Center as a single pane of communication, a single pane of management across multiple workload across your network and a hybrid situation as well. How it can help you to integrate a modern services, and how we can use Azure Arc. How we can use Azure Arc to basically use those systems out there. Azure Arc is a Microsoft offering to manage cloud services, Azure services outside of Azure that normally hosted on Windows or Linux virtual machines out there, which means I can use Azure Arc to manage all the kits and server ops without having any infrastructure to develop a very simplicity out there. So Microsoft Arc is a newly introduction to their hybrid topology or hybrid workload management, and it becomes like a centerpiece at the moment out there. So Arc is a bridge that extends Azure platform from the cloud to your on-premises or your own data center. You use your compute resource more compliant, more governed, and more efficiently and more lower latency with your full control out there. And manage that resource from the cloud with all the goodness of a cloud, including security, monitoring, and other components that come out there. If we generally talk about the hybrid features that Windows Server offer generally. So the first most important thing that comes into the picture, it's hybrid networking and hybrid identity. The first thing that we have to establish within Azure out there or any hybrid topology, it's a hybrid identity. You have to work within a hybrid identity in order to make sure that both systems or both environments can talk to each other. As you guys are aware of that the on-premises that we have in a legacy system that provide Active Directory domain services to provide us authentication and authorization services, which is pretty much compatible with the Windows Server and provide NTLM-based Corpus authentication, and they're well suited for architectures that have to be lived behind the firewalls. In the modern cloud, the scenario is very different. Identity is treated as a parameter, which means that identity need to be more secure and more modern to overcome the modern challenges and integrate within a cloud native applications, web applications, APIs. So the cloud talk into a different language. Cloud talk authentication and authorization by using OpenID Connect or OAuth. And they use a REST API to communicate or query data out there. But the data and the services will live across apart in two different premises. One is on premises that technically totally different, like you could have a SharePoint on premises, and you could have an M365 in the cloud. They're also running a SaaS version of SharePoint, which gives a birth for need to have or establish a hybrid identities so both applications can talk to each other. First, we're going to explore in our session that what are the two options and how they can marry. Second, we're going to talk about how we can secure our environment. Any environment without a proper security and monitoring, it's not a possible out there in 2020. One of the most important concerns that we have, it's a hybrid security out there, or security across premises and across devices. So that is one of the most important concerns for many organizations out there. In this segment, Windows do offer a couple of new modern features out there. Windows administrators can use and streamline their administrative tasks by using a modern technique, just enough administration concept or least privilege concept. Windows platform provide you a privileged access management, and you can design PAWs to basically perform specific tasks. Windows do have administration tools that can help you to reduce the attack surface and minimize the operational manner, so you can operate Windows more securely and more batterly as well. So you can use a modern tools such as I can say the modern tools sorry, modern tools such as jump servers and Microsoft Azure offered services can be integrated, like System Center integration with available within the Microsoft automation, and also you can take advantage of a cloud-based security posture management systems by using Azure monitors and Microsoft Defender for Cloud. Microsoft Defender for Cloud can integrate with your on-premises architecture as well to provide you unified security posture management to continuously evaluate the policies and understand the upcoming challenges or targeted attacks to your organization specific to the Windows Server. And they have a workload specialized task or configuration available that you can enable a hybrid configuration in order to secure your workload that lives in a hybrid topology or on-premises as well, which include on-premises or multi-cloud. Another important segment that we have to is secure administration out there. So when it comes for secure administration, so we talk about defining a least privilege or implementing a least privilege out there. We do have a concept of a jump box as well. So we're going to talk about that. So if you want to, the least privilege principle is that provide every single permission explicitly and deny everything by default. So the least privilege is a part of the strategy that called zero trust policy, and it's one of the core fundamentals. And we do have some sensitive security principles that we have to make sure that we trim down their access as minimum as possible. For example, Active Directory has a couple of advanced rules like domain admins, administrators, privilege admins, also enterprise admins. These roles have a very sensitive and a high level of access over the systems. If their accounts being compromised, these sensitive administrative groups can cause a huge damage. We try to add the additional protection on them whenever we want to use those particular privileges and try to minimize the access over those accounts as much as possible. We modify our our memberships. Active Directory can use GPO, also known as group policy objects, to minimize the access out there. We do have an option or configuration option by using restricted groups. In Active Directory, you do have an option for restricted groups that you can add it out there, which means that only a very specific number of users can be added. You can use this feature to control the membership of a group on the specific effective computer or wherever you want to apply the task out there. So after you determine which user or group should have to belong to these sensitive groups, you have to make necessary changes by using GPO in your areas. So you have to determine the existing options out there. An Active Directory domain services do provide a great length of connectivity. Microsoft also have make sure that the policy of a least privilege will be accessible and applicable across environments, which means that we have an options in Active Directory by using GPO. And in our Azure 800 course, we have a complete detailed model about that, where how and we can do that. Moving forward from here, and so another important aspect of embracing a hybrid feature in a cloud is site protection out there. So Azure Site Recovery is basically another tool that Microsoft offer for hybrid protection out there. If you want to basically protect your application, you have to explore options out there. And for hybrid migration and hybrid infrastructure protection out there, which means that the systems that you're running on premises can be securely and easily in a continuous fashion can move to the cloud or your secondary site out there. Azure Site Recovery not only reduce the cost, also help customer to migrate and protect their assets and reduce the minimum downtime as possible and hassle-free migration across Azure region or physical stages as well. And the best part, it let you test all those secondary sites out there. And it is seamlessly integrated with the Windows architecture, so you have a much more better and easier way to managing your site recoveries or DR sites. Microsoft do also provide this integration for VMware and Hyper-V as well, so you can take advantage of both type of mechanism. It is integrated in the cloud out there. So with no running infrastructure as service complex compliance, it's a complete PaaS solution. With an MSII, modified setups on premises can be possible, and it has tons of extra advantages that one can use when it comes for managing or protecting site recovery out there. So Azure Site Recovery, we're going to talk about in this classroom as well, and why it is important, and it can help you to achieve BCDR, business continuity and disaster recovery service, and it help you to reduce the RPO and RTO as much as low as your company needed in the most simplest and most better manner out there. It provides central management, on-premises integration, replication, app consistency and failover, and it has tons of feature that one looking for the DR management. Microsoft do offer hybrid capabilities. So we're trying to building lots of file shares in the past time out there, and we use the Windows file share capabilities, which substantially provide a pretty nice buckload of features out there. Now Microsoft have introduced a new feature that integrated with the Windows Server that called Azure File Sync. And this feature, Microsoft allow you to use Microsoft Azure storage capabilities to be cached and used fastly on premises by using a client-side caching capability by using Azure File Sync. It allows you to cloud tiering capability, which means the metadata of those blobs or those files will be available, so you can search, access, and fastly gain out there. And the moment you just access the file, it download on demand and available for the customer. By doing this, you do not have a heavy, extensive an expensive storage requirement on premises. You just have a main storage on a cloud, centralized management, and the benefits of a modern high availability and SLAs that comes with the system out there. And there's an abstraction on the storage layer, so you don't have to really install or manage any computer resource. It's completely a PaaS platform, so you don't have any infrastructure requirement for that. It simplifies the deployment, and Microsoft has take this tool further ahead and integrate their modern administrative tools to enablement of that tool or enrollment of that tool becomes super easy for administrator by using modern Windows Admin Center. So these are the quick highlights that what are the features that is available in Windows that available as a hybrid features or that are specific to the hybrid topologies. Let's continue. So hybrid cloud is always talk about the consistency. The hybrid cloud consistency, it's very important out there. So there are four common pillars of a hybrid consistency that we talk about across the environment. There are three different areas that we try to make sure that we try to comply as much and have a unified management, implementation, and infrastructural plane out there. It starts for the identity out there. We try to use the common identity rather than having a two separate identity on premises and the cloud out there. So we try to establish a relation or trust between these two directories or two environments so we can treat them as one. To simplify this complex hybrid architecture, we need a proper management tool. They can work across system to apply unified management, access management, single pane, single point of truth out there, single unification of access management, monitoring, and data collection for troubleshoots and other tasks. So we have a single experience and we can treat all the product in a single pane out there. Azure management and security features such as Admin Center, Azure Arc, Azure Defender for Cloud, and Azure policies can be also integrated and apply in the same fashion when it works on cloud, on premises as well. So we do have a certain management feature, so like Azure Defender can help in this area. Data is one of the most important piece of organization today. It's one of the things that we really care about it. Modern day that we have a segregated data in two different categories. One is the structured data and unstructured data. When it comes for the structured data, we know talk about the SQL Server out there. And SQL Server is one of the popular product of Microsoft, and it's been dominated market from quite a while. Microsoft do allow you to create and establish a hybrid implementation within a data platform and provide you numerous capabilities to be integrated within its counterpart in the cloud with called Azure SQL, and the different integration methods are available. By achieving these commonalities, you can achieve a better hybrid topology for your application, easy data migration, and a process management as well. And it comes for unified deployment mechanism. We want to deploy our services in the same fashion and the way that cloud offer today. One of the key reasons that people want to adopt a modern cloud, the agility and a quick provisioning and modern standards for GitOps out there, or operational management out there, or deployment operations out there. So we've embraced the modern technology or modern patterns of cloud code as infrastructure, or some people refer to infrastructure as code. And in this particular segment, we try our best to write the environment in a more descriptive and a more processed way. So the way we build things, way we build our deployment in the cloud, can we do it on premises? And we try to achieve that. One of the way that to achieve that system, we can use Azure Arc, Azure HCI, and a few other solutions. So we can deploy resources like SQL Server, Kubernetes, virtual machines, and many others in a unified way that we deploy on premises. We can migrate them, move them, orchestrate them with a very less hassle. This commonality, this consistency help us to focus on a better modern hybrid strategy and reduce the cost of ownership and increase the performance and operational efficiency over the time. So when it comes for the hybrid administration, as I say that, there are two major products that comes in our mind, Arc and Admin Center. What is Microsoft Admin Center? Microsoft Admin Center, it's a modern tool that is integrated in a cloud and also available on premises as well, which means that you can deploy and install on premises as a gateway tool and connect and integrate resources on cloud and on premises as well. As a part of a unified management strategy, this tool allows you to manage Azure security and advanced management features along with your applications as well, so it has a remote access tools availability for you. And this particular solution do offer tons of extra features. This particular solution offer tons of extra feature that one can use for implementing different kind of workloads. Windows, so it provides you server manager, failover cluster manager, hyper coverage cluster managed with HCI, Windows 10 and other client to be managed out there. You have a complete monitoring out there. Windows Admin Center is available in two different categories out there. Let me quickly give you the look out there. So I'll try to show you two different environments, and you will tell me that which one, that how common they are and how easy to manage they are. So if you guys can see my screen here, please take a look here, and you may notice that there is a one virtual machine that's running on my account, and I forget again to shut down it. I hope so it does not eat my credit, and it's running, no problem. So if you come on this Windows machine, it's a vanilla machine that lives in Azure portal. You can see here it hosted on Microsoft environment. So it's a pretty simple and straightforward. And I like it, and that's how it's supposed to be. But I want to have a unified experience, so my learning, my tools, and everything that I have achieved so far will be consistent. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to click here on a Windows Admin Center. You may notice that Microsoft has integrated this Admin Center inside your application out there. And to enable that one, you can just click here. And this one is in a PaaS platform, which means that you don't have to worry about it for any kind of infrastructure management or implementation. It will be just there. So it's a kind of a quick thing that you can really implement and really perform the task for hybrid networking. So in a few seconds, you will be able to see that this Admin Center extension will be installed on Azure VM and let you control the Azure VM, the Windows virtual machine that's running in the cloud, currently running a Windows Server 2019 edition. If you see from a preview, will have a similar or same X22 actually out there, will have a same experience what we could have on premises. It's a browser-based tool that helps you to connect clusters, servers, and perform several of operations on it. In a few seconds, you will see that will things to be happen out there. That's how you can enable Astra access. It basically uses behind the scene WinRM and remote PowerShelling to perform all those tasks. However, Windows Server Administration tool that called Windows Central Admin, it's not 100% replacement of a legacy tools such as a server admin, server manager, DNS manager, Active Directory tools that we use out there, and different services tools. It do have a most of the services and functionality available to install, configure, and manage things, but still it lacks few of the stuff that Microsoft trying to catch up over the time period. So, okay, it's taking a little time. Let's try to spin up another VM. I do have a couple of VM. I was aware of that. That's going to be happen like this. So, okay, so let's start this VM in the meantime. It will take less time. So I thought I'd give you the live demo. It makes much more sense to you guys can at least feel that how these services are available. And it takes slightly the time sometimes to just enable these ports. So it needed this port out there to be out there. And this tool that you will basically see in a couple of seconds here, that Windows administration tool or Windows admin tool. This tool can be installed or can be worked on your own machine as well, which means that you can have and you can host this tool at your own as well. It means you can download Windows Admin Center from the cloud and from the internet and run at your own to manage all your Windows Server requirement. Let me just show you one thing. Okay, this one is my Windows Server 22 environment here, and I have installed that same tool on premises. So I have click here for my admin, and we'll put the password here, and I'll show the few cool things. Yeah. So once you come up here, you may see that you have an option here for server management, computer management, and cluster management, and it's running on my local domain out there. I have installed a gateway. So when it comes for implementing management out there for this particular tool that called Windows Admin Center, sometimes we refer at WAC, or WC has two different components. One is a gateway and one is a web server. The gateway manage the server through the PowerShell remoting and WinRM, and the web server will basically, this component provide the HTTP based interface. It doesn't use IAS. I don't have to install IAS. It uses a micro web server to publish this website or this web interface that you're seeing. You can add different compute machines from your network and also from the cloud. If you have noticed that there is an option out there to add a computer here, let's add the one of them for my domain. If I go there, I can simply add the compute machine here by typing resolving the compute name, so I can able to access it. I have to provide the password again. Okay. Okie dokie, and here we go. Add with the credentials. And here you can see the verification is done, and add that one exactly. And here we add it. Now you can see here, we are on this particular server. We can do lots of hybrid management as well. So if you notice that we can integrate the Kubernetes service here on premises with the hybrid implementation, we can manage Active Directory, we can manage Azure Backup, Azure Files, monitors, certificate, containers, and much more. We can manage DSCP if you want. More than that, we can run PowerShell. So I can connect this machine remotely to perform any task, and everything is happening over HTTPS here. So it's much more secure than anything else. So it's a much more secure and a better way to manage things. But the best part is this, that's not only for your on-premises environment out there. You could manage more than that. It let you manage all your environment and everything to be installed, configure, or manage the way you want. But it do have a slightly some additional features as well, which means that I can connect my cloud services as well. So I can just go and add Azure services here. I can add Azure VMs, those Windows virtual machines, even Linux virtual machines that lives in the cloud. I can work within the same fashion out there. I can just use this one to be provide the integration and connect that one with on-premises. I might not able to do that because of some connection limitations here. So you guys have seen this example here that this particular environment help us to very quickly manage applications from on-premises and a cloud in a very unified way out there, which I can use for performance monitoring, implementation, and cloud integration becomes more simple. If I click here for suppose Azure monitors, I can just sign in and click on setup. It will take few seconds to really set up a complete process in a very graphical and automated fashion out there. It helped me to just monitor packets, performance monitoring. I can run PowerShells. I can do RDP. I can schedule tasks. So it do offer tons of extra feature. So it is compliant with an existing solutions like System Center and Azure Monitoring Tool. You don't have to really replace them. It's very easy to install, easy to be managed, can be accessed over the internet, can work with the multi-factor, integrated with Azure, have an extendability. So lots of third-party kits are available for that one. And it's works very simple in the cloud as well. So moving forward from here, if you see this experience and if I try to show you a similar experience in the cloud, you will be really fascinated. So not only that I can manage this application from on-premises, this virtual machine from on-premises as a single pane, but I do have a now similar capability in the cloud as well. So it's like a more unification out there. So I could have a same admin center available. I do have to provide so I remember the password. You can integrate Active Directory, you can integrate Azure Active Directory and multiple other solutions, whether it's for authentication and authorization. And you will see it will have a similar pane of management what you have seen other places out there. So you can say it's almost have all those services what you have seen on premises. So it's very unified out there, which provide you some statistics about the consumption and the CPU usage out there. I can take any actions out there. I can click connect, remote session, PowerShell, or anything, whatever I want to do in this application. So this is one of the options that it's offered by for the unified management. Azure do offer. So this is basically a list of services and functionality it offers. So in a hybrid way, in the hybrid environment, it provides you Azure extension, so you can able to extend your network, manage network adapter, cloud witness server for clusters out there, creating Azure virtual machines directly from admin center, from on-premises, performing backup and recovery, and manage Azure resources directly from Azure. So you can manage from Azure, means monitoring, security, update management, and Azure Arc is basically just a host on your compute machine on your server, but it's basically talking to the cloud. So every single thing will you apply in a cloud will work absolutely same way, just is running that machine on premises. And that tool, it's your gateway for that. So these all services centralized, managed from Azure, and extending the on-premises into Azure as well. So it's a more hybrid cloud and advanced management feature. If you guys plan to take an AZ800, you get a chance to not only work on these services, and you have a hands-on lab and detailed discussions and information about each topic, which basically enhance your skills and answer so many questions that might pop up in your mind. So I highly recommend the people who have an interest in a hybrid management should explore our offering within the AZ800. If we go further, second most important topic that we're going to talk about here, it's networking. So we have talked about the general access management. Now we will talk about the networking capabilities. Networking, it's a very important aspect of any environment out there. And it's, people say that the first step inside the hybrid implementation, you have to use your application with an identity. The first thing that we establish, the landing zone, is an identity and along with a network out there. So network is become a very essential piece of a hybrid implementation. If you want to implement any architecture today, so it will be a first thing on the priority that one should be looking forward out there. So let's talk about hybrid networking capability that offered by Microsoft in this particular area. So when it comes for the hybrid networking, so Microsoft offer a couple of features in on-premises that you can manage Windows Server, DNS services, and multiple things out there. But before we start our hybrid networking discussion, we should have to understand components that are available in Azure and also available on premises. Let's first explore the capabilities of Azure that we should use in on-premise in a hybrid implementation. And it starts with the virtual networks. What is Azure Virtual Networks? Azure Virtual Network, it's a building block of any environment that you want to build in Azure out there, or in any environment that you want to build in the cloud out there. It's a virtual networking component that allow you to establish or allow you to build your private network, isolated network, so your resources can talk to each other. So if you deploy 6 virtual machines and you want privately to let them talk as an isolated instance for the network piece, those packets will be not shared with any other tenant. You should be using virtual network. In Azure subscription, you can create multiple virtual network as needed out there. Virtual network provide you TCP, UDP, and IP-based communication between resources and help you govern and control these networks out there. So you can deploy your computer in on-premises environment, and typically you connect them through the normal network by enabling a communication in each other. Same thing we do within a virtual network in Azure. We call or refer sometimes as VNet. VNet provide other VM effectively the direct IP-based connectivity and help you to have a public and private IP address spaces as well. It can also help you do micro-segmentation as well by using subnets. It also allow you to have a micro segmentation by using subnet. Subnet help you to segregate it on a for the level and provide you a more distinguished management out there. So you can deploy different services, related services into the groups and more segmentation about it. So there are few services, especially in Azure, required to have a separate subnet so they can limit the communication between them and apply different policies as well. Having a subnet in Azure, it's very important, and understanding the importance out there, because by using this particular segregation boundary, I can apply different access management policy as well. So Azure subnets or Azure virtual network subnet allow you to create an IP spaces ranges out there. So this IP space range can talk out there. Subnet is a range of IP addresses inside the virtual network. You can divide a virtual network into multiple subnets out there. Let's take a look how it's look like in Azure. If you go quickly on Azure, we click here on the virtual machine networking, you will find our virtual network here. So this is basically our virtual network. And if I click on this virtual network, I will come into the left-hand tab that calls subnets under the settings. And if I click here on the subnets, if I click here, and you can see here is a multiple subnets, which basically represent different IP ranges out there. It helps us to create a different divisioning of and micro segmentation of our virtual network, and also help us limit the traffic between these particular boundaries and apply specific network policies on it. When it comes to the policy, the new product comes in mind. One of the fundamental building block of Azure Virtual Networking, it's NSG, also referred sometimes as network security groups. Network security group help you to filter all the traffic that comes in or goes out from virtual network. So all the inbound and outbound traffic is filtered by defining 5 TULIP security rules, which including priority, access control, and also defining that how much in and out you want to do out there. So based on what source port and destination port you want to connect, and what source and what destination you want to achieve. By using these 5 TULIP method, you can control it by rules. You can allow and deny traffics that can come to Azure Virtual Network. And you can control that traffic like you can see on my screen here. If you go to the NSG segment, this is your NSG that we created along with the virtual machine. In AZ900 and AZ104 and AZ800, we get an extensive chance and opportunity to explore these tools in depth and perform hands-on lab. So since this is the overview course, I keep repeating that. We try to give you the more highlights as much we can. So if you guys can see here, we have defined all the inbound and outbound rules, which basically help us to control the traffic, allow or deny, and we can control that one either on the individual virtual machine by network interface card that associated with virtual machines, or with a subnet to control the traffic that we want to handle from the internet or anywhere else. When we're talking about the controlling of traffic, so you think that, Osama, it's just like in a firewalls. So what's the difference between a firewall and NSC? The two big differences out there. So Microsoft do have any firewall? Yes, Microsoft do have a couple of firewalls. So NSC is a kind of firewall, but it's not the firewall. Microsoft have a completely built-in firewall available for you there. NSG is more targeted and is deployed to the particular subnet and network interface where Azure Firewall monitor traffic on a broad scale out there, broadly, applying the rules based on IP address, port, and network subnets. Both Azure Firewall and the traffic can manage this. So they are a very similar incident section, but the scope of those products are totally different. Azure Firewall provides slightly additional capabilities. It has a built-in load balancer. It have unlimited cloud scalability. It's a stateful firewall. It can filter and manage traffic policies from layer 3 to layer 7. And it is available in a 2 different offering, premium and standard out there. So it helps organization to create and manage their connectivity profile across organization and help you to use static IP address for your virtual network resources, and also external firewall can identify all this origination and also monitor traffic as well and provide you real-time troubleshoots as well. So Azure Firewall have a tons of extra features. It's have completely managed, it's a fully scalable, it's highly available out there, and it's a fully managed PaaS solution. No server, no appliances, nothing. It's a stateful service out there you can deploy on any virtual network and protect your any number of virtual networks as well to filtering the traffic that comes on application level, in fact. So it enables you to create a traffic filtering rules, which basically can enforce across multiple subscription or network. It provides 99.9% high availability out there. And Azure Firewall, including the feature FQN tagging, service tagging, threat intelligence, multiple public IP address monitoring, Azure Monitor Logs integration, web categories, and certificate management as well. And it do offer great scalability and integrations with other components. So you can use Azure Firewall on layer 3 or layer 7 to enhance the capability. Another important component, it comes from extending the Azure virtual network into hybrid topology. The thing that we have discussed earlier, it's more focused on the area where we can use our application in-house out there, which we're talking about in the cloud. So it's all about the inside the cloud, where the hybrid jumps in, how we can extend the Azure to my data center to Azure. So the answer is the VPN gateway. The Azure VPN gateway is a specific type of VPN gateway or VNet gateway that allow you to use an encrypted traffic to be extended by using tunneling capability or VPN capability to on-premises. Microsoft allow you to extend the VPN or VNets by 2 different methods, either VNet pairing, which means the 2 VNets can talk to each other, and other method is VPN gateway. VPN gateway can connect to another Azure virtual network, or VPN gateway can connect to another premises as well, which including using IPsec and IKV VPN tunnel over the internet by using public IP address to connect your on-premises data center, which means I can access my resources, my ADDS services on-premises in the cloud as well. So it can help us. We do have a multiple type of VPN, majorly 2 type. One is called site-to-site VPN. That is basically happen over the internet and by using IKV tunnels. Another option that we have, it's called Express Route. Express Route can help you to extend your on-premises network into Azure over the private link out there. Unlikely VPN connections, Express Route use a private connection facilitated by a third-party telecom providers, and it establish a private link, which means it not expose any data over the internet, neither to transmit that one, and provide you a low latency and high bandwidth connection to the resources in a cloud, so you can really enjoy much more better connection. We do have Azure WAN, another product that last but not the least, Azure WAN. You guys have seen that there's so many VPNs and so many ways that we can connect networks, and it becomes so complex in a larger enterprise scenario. So branch to office scenario and many others. Azure VPN encapsulate many networking services. Azure WAN encapsulate many WAN services and provide networking, security, and routing functionality. Virtual WAN use hub and spoke architecture within a scale and performance built in out there. And Azure regions can work as a hub, which basically you can choose to connect, and then it transmit your services all other regions, including on-premises and the cloud out there. So single gateway for the enforcing all security policies and access management, and then routing and controlling traffic. All these complex scenarios can be achieved by using Azure WAN to have a single management pane and managing extra services. So these things that we have discussed so far, and they are pretty neat. Now, we quickly try and talk about Azure Active Directory. In a cloud, we have a directory services that available that call Azure Active Directory. Azure Active Directory used by all Azure services and Microsoft Cloud services and third-party applications as well. It do support auth, multi-factor authentication, conditional access, intelligence feeding, and many advanced features. It's designed for the modern day challenges and work with the modern protocols such as OpenID Connect and OAuth mechanisms. On-premises do have Active Directory services out there that also sometimes refer as ADDS or Active Directory Domain Services. These services host all the authentication and authorization database for the users. We can establish a core identity between them by synchronizing and establishing connection out there, which means we can establish a single source of identity where we can synchronize users and object and provide single sign-on capabilities. So users can seamlessly access applications and data across premises. Microsoft do offer multiple type of options, including PTA, password hash syncs, which means that only the hashes will be synced in the cloud, and the two independent services will be processed simultaneously. You can give the authentication responsibility to on-premises for more compliant and more security requirement by using PTA or ADFS. And by using this, you can access all Microsoft other services as well. So Active Directory will provide you cloud and hybrid native identity. It do have a group and user management and device management with the Intune. The groups and users are the flat. They're not hierarchical like on-premises. And it works within a standard protocols, and it has a built-in token store and great scalability. Active Directory tenant, it's basically a single instance of Active Directory that associated for the one organization. Unlike ADDS, ADD Active Directory is a multi-tenant application, which means this service is going to be used by multiple organizations out there. But the instance that you will be used, it's an individual isolated instance just for your company. It's one of the largest Active Directory or largest multi-tenant directory stored in the world at the moment. Stored, I think so, 3.2 billion items in it. So Active Directory is different from the on-premises predecessor of the Active Directory domain services. They have very similar names and very similar acronyms, but they work so much different way. First, on-premises, you use Kerberos, you use LDAP, you use group policies, you use forest and domains, multi-forest architecture, and integrate the virtual machines. Active Directory in a cloud designed for the apps, provide the redundancy integration with the services. Now, Active Directory in preview can work with virtual machines, provide you the federation services. Nope, it can provide you this integration with the federation, but not with the multi-forest. Only multi-domain is possible. We do not have a group policies in Active Directory. We do have a conditional access and Azure policies to enforce some policies in the cloud. We do not have a LDAP on premises, in the cloud, but we can use Graph or REST API as an alternative. And we do not have a Kerberos or NTLM authentication. We use OAuth out there. If you need these services, you have to host Active Directory domain services. So you have two different options to host Active Directory domain services in order to achieve all those components to run your infrastructure for authentication for Windows architecture and network design and accessibility. And it leads us to the topic towards Active Directory domain services. Active Directory domain services are available in a two distinguished configuration. One, what we call Active Directory domain services for on-premises that can be deployed as infrastructure as service VM in the cloud and provide you all details. And another one, it's basically provide you a capability that you can use a Microsoft PaaS platform that called Azure Active Directory domain services that also provide a domain controller, a hosted domain controller in the cloud. If we define an Active Directory, we try to segregate in two logical components. Active Directory is situated in two major components and is logically defined into two separate segments. One are the logical components, and other ones are the physical component. In AC800, we're going to talk about them in very depth details and explore and perform the various tasks about these all components out there. At the high level, we have a partition. Partition is basically a portion of an Active Directory database, and all through the consistent one file name of this database will be segregated out. So you can create a multiple partitions to store that data. So it's a database partition that managed by the Active Directory. It's basically NTDS format out there name for that file. You have a schema. A schema is a basically set of a definition of object types and attributes which define them in to be present in Active Directory. Active Directory hold multiple type of objects which can authenticate and authorize, like group users, computers, accounts, service accounts, and etc. We do have domain trees. We also have domains forests out there. So these are the logical components. I'll show them the slide in a second. And we have another piece where we have a physical components out there. So when you talk about the physical components, we have a domain controller. Domain controller contain a copy of a ADDS database, and almost operations, and each domain controller can process and change and replicate the changes across other domain controllers. We have a data store copy of the data store of the existing on each domain. So it basically copy the data from all the domains out there. And we have a global catalog. Global catalog server is a domain controller that hosts a global catalog, which is a partially read-only copy of all objects in a multiple domain forest. ROD also stands for read-only domain controller. It's a special kind of controller we're using for the caching or authentication purposes for the optimal use for low latency access out there, branch and office scenarios. We do have a sites and subnets we didn't discuss here, but we do have two more controls out there. If you talk about the logical components of Active Directory, what make an Active Directory? So domain is one of the most important one. It's a logical administrative container for the objects where you can store username and the computers out there. So users and computers can belong to each domain, so you can apply different policies and create relationship between them out there. So you can have an parent child domains as well, and you can segregate them based on your organizational structure. A domain tree is a hierarchical collection of multiple domains, and it starts from a root domain to just managing different policies in a hierarchical way, and segregation of those objects where they belong. Forest is a collection of one or more than one domain that can have a common ADDS root, such as common schema or common catalog. OUs is a very famous one. The organizational unit is one of the fundamental building block that is not available in the cloud version of Active Directory that call organizational units. Organizational units are the container that hold user groups and computer to provide a framework that you can delegate the administrative right and link them within a specific group policies, which means that I can create an OU based on my organizational hierarchy and perform various tasks on it, such as linking specific policies for the sales, and sales can be in one organization unit and IT can be another one. So I can define different policies and assign a different administrative rights to delegate on the more gradual level, so other people can also, group leaders can also manage many things on that scale. So AD domain, I already have talked about it, the AD domain itself. So AD domain, as I have defined it, or domain and the forest, if we say together out there. So Active Directory domain controller, it's basically provide you all these capabilities, the boundary of in the Active Directory. So provide the administrative control and to host the authentication and authorization. If you talk about AD forest, what is AD forest? Forest is a top-level container in ADDS, and each forest have a collection of one or more than one domain trees which share a common schema and global catalog. Domain tree is a collection of domains that share a continuous namespace out there. Forest root domain is the first and the highest in the tree out there, and the root domain contain object that doesn't exist in another domains in the forest. So in our AZ 500 core, or in our AZ 800 course, we have a complete implementation of our domain controller and implementation of a domains in a multiple seconds. If you want to host a domain controller in the cloud out there, you have two options. Either you can use ADDS or host a virtual machine in the cloud. However, Azure ADDS or Azure Active Directory Domain Services, a PaaS platform, does not require operating system or management or extra workhead, but at the same time has a lesser functionality. So you can manage your ADDS by using remote server management tools, PowerShell, Active Directory user and computer object console management. And also you have several of other tools that can help you to operate that. So these are some options that you can manage your Active Directory domain controller in the cloud. And these are some highlighted services that we have so far. So these are things that we have discussed. We try to quickly go and talk about a few of the services that are offered by Windows Server Administration, as well as for file server management. As I say that in the hybrid world, we do have an Windows file sync as well, we have discussed, but Microsoft do offer lots of files management out there, file server management. So it do offer multiple files types to be managed in out there. So you can manage NFD and NTFS and the resilient file systems as well. And you can implement virtual SAN with Microsoft management tools out there. So you have a capability that you can use Microsoft File Resource Manager to scan, apply quota classification and duplication management. And also you can implement virtual SAN by using SKCs out there. You can use the storage direct space out there. So storage direct spaces allow you to create a virtual SAN out there by collecting a multiple type of virtual disk in the pool and create a one single virtual disk to provide you more redundant and more efficient benefits out there. Windows Server do also have a data duplication management service available for you that can help you do on a block level of a data duplication to be managed across systems, so you can reduce the size and manage a large enterprise applications as well, and you can scope them into different areas. So these are some advanced storage management features that offered by the Windows so far. I hope so you guys liked our first session out here about Windows Server and administration. These are some core services that offered by Windows Server. We try to give you slightly highlights and few demos to give you an idea that what are the features are available in Windows that one can choose for core infrastructure management in both on-premises, infrastructure as a service, or hybrid environment. And we're going to take a short break here, and then we will move to our next segment, which is comparatively the small segment on this one out there.
Thank you so much. Yes, we will go ahead and take a quick session or quick 5-minute break. And while we're doing that, we're going to take a quick moment to launch a poll to find out how many people might be interested in some additional training. And in addition to today's training, we will have a lot of informative webinars coming up. So please take a moment to go to www.netcomlearning.com/webinars/ to register for any of those, or just to look them over and see what you might be interested in. Now, I will in the comment section be posting how much time we have left. So if you need to check in with that, or in the chat session, if you need to check in with that to just see how much time we have on the clock, I will let you know. Thank you so much. Hello, welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for taking time to participate in that poll. We are going to go ahead and jump right back into our session. Are you with us?
Yes, we are with you, and I'm with you guys, and I hope so you guys can able to see my screen. And I have put a timer so just everybody can track as well. So I hope so everybody able to follow that. So let's get started and give a few seconds that everybody can just be ready. Okay. So now we are moving forward from here and going to talk about our next segment, which is basically talk about advanced administration out there, which means that we're talking about advanced capabilities. When it comes for Windows Server 2022 hybrid advanced service and configuration, we have again 5 tulip ahead. So the 5 fundamental pillars that we're going to explore in this particular segment. However, these are the highlights of the offering that we can explore in the continuous learning here in the areas we can explore further. Uh, this particular model is a pretty much a reflection or continuation of AZ 81. If you guys are planning to do a certification and learning about these topics in details, AZ 81 provide you the great experience with the hands-on detailed labs and 5 days or 4 days courses for that one, where you can explore every single piece in so much detail and so much hands-on with a one-on-one instructor that can provide a great wealth of knowledge and clarity about these workloads. So in this particular topic, we're going to talk about a few important elements that the advanced services talk about. It. Number one, hybrid implementation out there. When it comes for advanced configuration, the first thing is talk about securing infrastructure. How we can secure on-premises infrastructure in the cloud and on-premises. Virtual machine security, virtual network security, Windows update management, hybrid update management, creating an implemented application allow list and adaptive controls out there. So how you can use that and out there in encryption, especially in Azure out there, especially in Azure, how you can create a REST and transit encryption to encrypt your virtual machines and services out there. How you can implement file tracking and the file integrity to monitor Windows infrastructure as a service in the cloud out there. So change track and inventory management and other challenges. Securing DNS. So you can use a Windows DNS service to be hosted out there and to apply your DNS policies. And you can use a DNS split horizon techniques out there, create DNS policies and enforce them. So these are the topics that we're going to explore when it comes for securing implementation out there. And hardening of Windows Server, it's always our priority. Understanding the local password administration solution, the least privilege, how we can configure the sensitive workloads, and what are the option cloud does offer in this area. Then we have another fundamental area that we focus in our hybrid services where Microsoft offer their offering. It's implementing and managing Windows Server high availability. High availability is another big challenge for organization to make sure the sensitive and critical workload remain available during the disaster. Microsoft offer as a Windows Server offering a couple of features. So high availability for your storage solution. So you run lots of clusters, you run lots of sensitive application. They meant to be high available out there. They meant to be run application online all the time out there. So Microsoft have a storage solution that we basically call failover and network that called cluster shared volume. So cluster shared volume is allow you to create a volume in a high available redundant environment that you can use for failover cluster management. And this functionality we're going to talk about that. So fail cluster volume is one of them for just implementing, and this feature is not new for the Windows for sure. It is available from very long time, and it provides various numerous capabilities and improvement over the time period that Windows has offered. Second one topic that we try to discuss or try to explore in this particular segment is Microsoft Windows failover clustering capability. So as you know that Windows is a very famous and very popular for implementing Windows failover cluster. Windows failover cluster allow you to manage active passive clusters, so you can accomplish high availability workloads to be in create in your environment. You can create a failover clustering that consists of a multiple Windows server. If a part of a failover cluster fails, so other servers will take a responsibility and provide you the service. And the fail node can offer auto healing and it can revert it back out there, which have a minimal impact on the business service out there. So most commonly, application like SQL Server, VM configuration, and Discard are basically using a common file share with the SVCs, the high available storage, and also high available application service that can be VM or physical server that hosting a service like application like SQL Server, Exchange Server. We try to run upon that. Moving forward from here, Windows 2 provide lots of capabilities for implementing high availability as a virtual machine. So you can deploy virtual machines at scale with the high availability in mind. So hypervisor or Hyper-V do have a capability that allow you to implement your VMs in a high available environment by using load balancing. You can use hot clustering technique. So hot clustering, you can implement a hot clustering by creating a failover cluster consist of nodes that run a Hyper-V roles on it, and within a Hyper-V cluster, you can place and configure virtual machine in a high available cluster. This way, you can implement the failover protection at Hyper-V level, at the virtualization level, and effectively the guest operating systems and its workload don't have to be a cluster aware. So service will consistently, for example, the workload that are not a cluster aware, including server-based printing servers, or might be other custom web apps. None of this application, so they don't have to be do any failover. Classic failover clustering, gas clustering, and load balancing. So these are the three different options that we're going to explore in this particular area. We do also have several of other features for high availability implementation for file servers, including Windows file sync, scale out file server, and CSV volumes out there, storage replica. These are the features you can use for establishing a high available storage solution so you can deploy your applications out there and implement those particular solution within a load balancing and high available techniques in Azure portal as well. And you can implement Azure site recovery to replicate and enhance your availability of application and avoid the disaster recovery. Same fashion, you have also Azure migration capabilities here. In Azure migration capabilities, Azure do provide you this lots of easiest way that you can migrate your on-premises solution to the cloud. So one of the most common practice is performing the assessment, that understanding that what tool suited better to you. You can use Azure Migrate as a tool to performing these migrations out there. You can upgrade and migrate your virtual machine in the cloud. And you will basically able to explore that workload that running Windows Server to run as an infrastructure service in a cloud, and Windows Server 2019 tools can help you to migrate services and storage solutions that can be used by Azure Migrate. We can also think about that how we can migrate Windows services, how we can migrate Active Directory domain services in a cloud. So establish a domain controller in a cloud, and what are the specific things? There are lots of tools that are available that can help us to migrate these specific services in the cloud out there. So we can use ADM tool out there that is available for us, and there are several of techniques that migration accounts can be developed and you can deploy. So Microsoft has built a tool that called Active Directory Migration Tool, ADMT. We can talk about that. And so these are the and file server services as well. Then it leads us to the last segment, which talk about the monitoring capabilities. One of the most commonly adoptive architecture for or component for hybrid implementation, monitoring. When it comes to the monitoring, Azure Monitor is a top tool that how you can integrate Azure Monitor with your on-premises virtual machine to monitor your health and use several of Azure Monitor features and capabilities to collect the event logs and perform actions and auditing, including security and troubleshoot features with a unified console management. So these are some highlights that we're going to cover in our upcoming segment. So let's get started one by one. The first thing first, we're going to talk about the storage solution out there. So as you guys know that Azure and Microsoft Windows provide several of solutions out here to establishing a high available application and make sure that application infrastructure is easily maintained and manageable, and we can deploy our resources in a more secure manner. And it start from the high available storage out there, that what option that Microsoft do offer in storage area. One of the common option that Microsoft do offer is CSV, also known as shared cluster shared volume out there, as I said earlier out there. So shared cluster volume allow you not only to establish a high available volume and mostly cost effective solution. So if I try to determine the capabilities of a shared access volume and a little bit of architecture as well. So shared access volume is basically referred as SVCF out there. It's a cluster-based, node-based architecture that work and read and write data on NTFS and or RSFE volumes simultaneously. So it consolidates multiple nodes, which basically consist of a multiple disk, and create a single pool to create a volume from them out there. So multiple volumes basically create that pool that allow us to do access more volumes and more load balancing and distribution across these nodes to achieve a higher speed and also less management for capabilities as well. CSV offer a capability for support for the online disk checks out there. This check operation or check disk operation runs online without affecting any workload and with the open handle on the file system. It do support BitLocker encryption. It do provide integration within a modern SMP 3.1 out there, and SMP Direct, SMP FTP multi-channel for the enhanced recommendation within a RDMA. Also, cluster shared volume have some advanced features out there. It majorly used for failover Hyper-V cluster management out there, scale out file servers or Hyper-V and SQL Server files to be hosted out there. In some situation, you can use this particular product or this particular feature of Windows Server for using caching mechanisms as well. So this is one of the option, or it's one of the feature that share cluster volume out there. It's a service of a Windows Server, and that allow you to create a shared disk that concurrently accessible. That are concurrently accessible, and easily you can use them and apply changes or to a fault tolerance as well. In our course, we're going to talk about that in detail once basically we go through over it. And so it allow all concurrent volume to be accessed and provide load balancing, distribution, and better access management at once. So you can use, as we see, the more common functionality that it provides, virtual disks out there. You can create a virtual disk, so any node can access a virtual disk files out there and on the shared volume, and it simplifies storage mechanism, and it permits you to large number of virtual machine to be accessed and often commonly used as on a shared drive. Shared volumes or cluster shared volume increase the resiliency of a cluster and helping you to achieve a more fault tolerant IO as well, and a much more faster recovery and compatible with an NTFS protocol. So it's one of the key offering that Microsoft offer in a storage area, but this is not the only one. If we try to go further and try to explore more, Microsoft offer a few more features when it comes for Windows cluster management out there, and which basically help us to establish a more high available and redundant environment. Number one, Windows failover cluster management. Windows failover cluster management help you to accomplish a failover cluster by consist of a multiple Windows Server nodes where you can run your workload out there in a high available environment. It consists of a multiple components: node, client, network, cluster roles, resources, and cluster storage. And if I quickly able to show you the one simple elaboration of it. So you have a shared volume out there by using shared SKC out there, and you have a running a two separate nodes or in a failover cluster. If one node goes down, other node can still provide a service, and you have a single unified way for accessing server. So shared access does not have to be directly attached to the multiple node. You can use S2D2 technology it introduced in 2016 to create a shared disk and allow them to apply failovers. So failover cluster management is basically the capability that depend on a cluster functional level as well. And many applications may require and help you to achieve a high redundant application by using Microsoft Windows failover clustering. And it's very common workload normally used for implementing high availability for many applications, which including Windows Server, SQL Server, SharePoint, and many other applications that require high availability implementation. However, it's one of the techniques that one can use for implementing high availabilities in environment. And you can utilize a Windows failover features out there as a native, does not require anything extra. It's very simplified the load balancing, and it is pretty substantial and pretty much cluster aware as well. If you talk about including the storage spaces as a part of the same feature along with a storage tiering can add some advantages as well. And a setup of failover cluster is slightly complex. So it requires specific skills and also proper analysis for the networking and other requirement. So this is basically one of the commonality that the system provide out there, and this particular system does available, or this technique available from very long time at this moment. If you move forward, if you talk about high available Windows virtual machines, so we do have an option that we can host our virtual machines as well, where we can host our applications out there, and we can make sure that our virtual machine itself, the hosting environment itself, become high available. So we don't have to much worry about the cluster aware operating system or operations out there. By using this technique, I can basically host a many workloads to be available out there. As I say that earlier, in this particular area, we have three major options are available. So what we can do a three different kind of solution to make sure that our application are high availability configured for virtual machines. Number one, if we talk about it, it's a hot clustering that we have talked about it. So the three options that we have, it's too big. So number one, we have an option here for implementing a hot cluster. The hot cluster, when you implement hot clustering, you will create a failover cluster consist of multiple nodes that runs a Hyper-V server roles and Hyper-V cluster in place out there. So you can configure your VM as a high available clustered resource. So in this particular technique, in this particular method, your VMs or the operating system inside or the workload inside the VM is not need to be aware of a cluster out there. Your virtual machine itself will be high available behind the scenes in an environment. So you really can use these virtual machines to be using the hot cluster mechanisms to be implemented. So Azure Hyper-V do provide this capability, and you can use Hyper-V to perform this task to simplify management, and several of other advantages can be taken from this particular methodology. So it's like that, rather than doing in a failover cluster on inside the application level, we are doing this failover clustering on the virtualization level out there. So virtual machine itself will have multiple instances running out there. So if one cluster fails, still service will be provided by another area or another node. So my app or my database or my application will run always the way I want. So my virtual machines will be run inside those failover clusters, and I will able to access further. If we go further and we talk about another option, implementing a guest clustering. what is a guest clustering? Guest clustering you can configure within a Hyper-V. It's similar to the failover of a physical clusters of physical servers to provide you provisioning of a two or more than two virtual machines and configure them as a node as a failover. While it is possible to implement this scenario by using a single host for virtual machines out there, and you can configure as a suitable for deployment and testing scenario, not ideal for production environments. But this is one of the technique that for sure one can explore when they want to enable Hyper-V out there. Last but not the least, you can also use for load balancing technique as well, where you can have the load balancing aware application can be implemented as well. So you can consider load balancing for Hyper-V as well. Load balancing in a Windows Server operating system as a feature is available. So network load balancer can work within a Hyper-V in the same way it can does within a physical machine or host out there. It distributes IP traffic across multiple instances. In our course that called AC 800, in our course in AC 800, we do have a complete lab available where we can configure uh, our our load balancers and deploy a load balancer for Hyper-V and see these applications running. So if you guys are interested to see that how those virtual machines can basically work and how you can define your workloads on a network load balancer, feel free to explore this course content where you can get a chance to running a hypervisor in more redundant environment and able to see and configure those resources. I will share this board link with my Twitter profile, so you guys can access all this content later on as well. So you can see here that you have a network load balancer and you're running a multiple node of compute here, and beneath that you have your different servers are running. So different techniques can be used for high availability as well. Another important challenge when it comes for implementing high availability is implementing high available file server. That how we can use a file server to be implemented for high available cluster management out there. So we talk about the compute layer to be make sure they will provide consistently the high availability of a service, and redundancy can help us to achieve that. Storage is a different topic, and we want to achieve a redundancy and high availability in a most cost optimized way. And Windows allow you multiple feature in this particular segment that allow you to take a benefit of an implementation of high available files server roles by using Windows Server 2019 and 22. So high available options that you have today within for file server in available is number one, failover clustering. You can use in a failover cluster. So file server general use out there for traditional role, and you can implement as well. And so failover cluster can be implemented for your high availability out there for what node will basically have a shared volume, and it provide the compute resource on it. You can also use storage replica. Storage replica is a Windows Server feature that enables you a unilateral storage agnostic replication between storage volumes. So you can create a storage replica out there. You can do asynchronous and synchronous replication for your workloads if it's required. Another option that is available for out there, another option that is available for making a file server more redundant is creating your CSV that we have discussed earlier. So these are the three major common options are available that we can use. We can implement a scale out file server. So when you deploy virtual machines in a high available environment, such as workloads like Hyper-V workloads or SQL Server workloads out there, you need optimized and very performant and resilient storage architecture out there. So you should consider another option that offered by Windows for high over management is called SOFS, also sometimes referred as scale out file server. Scale out file servers improve. It's basically a failover clustering out there. So it's basically is CSV based Windows failover clustering rule out there. It add the benefit improving of a scaling, load balancing, and allow you also non-distributive maintenance and update out there. So fixing corrupt disk in a hot way, hot swap, all those things can be possible out there. So these are the things that we can perform out there, and in our labs, we do have an option to perform these actions and these tasks. Moving ahead from here, and it comes for the next topic about the migration. The migration on Windows, migration on Windows, for Windows operating system from on-premises to the cloud infrastructure. It's a very important topic, and it's I think it's the hottest topic in town. Microsoft do have an architecture center and cloud adoption framework where Microsoft has detailedly discussed the options and strategical management. In this particular segment, we try to explore the options that what we have that we can use for migrating our workload on the cloud. So one of the most common feature that Azure do provide is called Azure Migrate. What is Azure Migrate? Azure Migrate is one of the features that you can use for migrating your workload in a cloud. Azure Migrate have a set of features that located in a central hub that you can provision in a cloud that allow you to completely design your journey to migrate from on-premises infrastructure, application, databases, and data into the cloud out there. Azure Migrate have a several of components. Let's explore Azure Migrate together. When you talk about the Azure Migrate have several of components. Uh, so when you talk about the Azure Migrate components, so we can do assessment, we can do also a complete migration, and also in a scalable and in a very automated action as well. So it provides you a key migration scenario, integration, discovery, assessment, and migration capability as well. Centralized repository to end-to-end tracking. And it has lots of third-party solution. It do have lots of third-party solution that one can use in order to manage Azure Migrate. If you guys can, so technically, what is Azure Migrate? Azure Migrate is a migration hub service, and that tool designed to deduct, analyze, and facilitate your migration of any type of workload in a cloud for Microsoft platform only. And it provides you deduction and migration capabilities. Number one, what it provide you a discovery. That means you can assist your existing infrastructure, that what kind of workload you're using and task you are performing on premises, so that later on you can create a relevant infrastructure in a cloud or have a complete inventory. And that feature is very important for anyone you want to use out there. So it's one of the feature of cloud migration service. Okay. It provides you a unified migration pane, so you can have a single portal to start, run, track, and migrate your tools. A range of tools for assessment and migrations are available for you out there, and for discovery, assessment and modernization tool is also available out there, so you can assess, migrate, and monitor your tools out there for your databases, your database servers, apps, web application services like Kubernetes, virtual desktop, large data sets out there. So it has a tons of different tools that one can use in the cloud. If you go to the portal.azure.com again, and you type here Azure Migrate, you can find that resource here and you can start implementing. It consists of multiple solutions. Azure Migrate can help you to assessment of discovery of servers, databases, and web applications. So discover and access the on-premises environment by installing a small virtual appliances out there. Also, it provides you data migration as well. So you can migrate your data from on-premises by using appliance and appliance-less as well, by using SQL Server to Azure SQL and Azure SQL Managed Instance in a very less management head out there. It's a very simple process upon that. And this tool, it's basically help you to completely integrate with many ISV solutions. So it simplify the way that you want to deploy and manage your applications and apply all the tasks out there. However, this tool provide, you can see here that the multiple scenarios here, and you can start exploring and creating a project and start implementing your migration journey if you have one. So so once you create a project, you have an option for accessing the assessment tools, and many other options for discovery and migration as well. You can deploy Azure Migrate by using ARM templates, and you can control this thing by several of method as well. So discovering, you can discover VMware workload, physical data sets as well, and also multi-cloud as well. You can perform assessment, and you can use migration options as well. So this is one of the tools that one can use for migration for infrastructure service. It can help you to upgrade your VMs. Another important subject when it comes for migration that we have to explore and understand, especially if you're targeting Azure AD 81 exam, especially they're going to be asked out there, it's understanding of Active Directory domain services. Active Directory domain services can be available in a two different configuration, either as a PaaS platform that called AZ Active Directory. Another one is a domain services that hosted on a Windows operating system and help you to run your domain controller on it, either on premises or either as infrastructure service. If you want to migrate your Active Directory domain services, you have two options. Number one is upgrade, or second thing is migrate out there. First of all, you have to make sure that you are using the most latest version out there. The first question that many organization has converted is when it comes for the traditional domain controller running in a newer edition or operating system, should we upgrade or our existing forest, or should we migrate to the newer forest? Means the in-place upgrade or create a newer edition and then migrate all the data out there. So you have to first strategically find that particular answer that audio. Migrating to a new AD forest is more complex than upgrading the existing one. So when you are performing ADDS migration, you create a new server environment, new forest, and new domain controller that's running the latest edition of a Windows, and then start the migration process and moving users, computers, policies, and all that. Migrating to the newer forest is a typically drive the need of a restructuring of AD, or in a domain or in an organization sometimes out there. Some merger and acquisition scenarios also give this particular scenario out there. You can migrate this particular tool or to cloud as well. So you can migrate your application to cloud by using Active Directory migration service. So you can use multiple methods for migrating the workload and migrating between a modern workload or newer version of an Active Directory to support more integration. You can utilize the modern tool that called Active Directory migration tool. ADMT can perform migration of user services, groups, computers, and local profiles and policies as well. That can help you to simplest and fastest way to get in the cloud. Azure do have a few additional advanced services and configuration as well in a context of Windows when it comes for managing and maintaining services out there, such as Azure troubleshoot management. Azure do have a tool that we call Azure monitors. We should be considering Azure monitors as well for unified management. Azure Monitor is a tool that enables you to monitor your resources and your virtual machines across many different environments out there. So you can enable Azure Monitor to install a virtual Azure monitoring agent and collect the data. What is Azure Monitor? Azure Monitor is a collection of services out there. They basically consist of two major functionality. Let me just share the one diagram to elaborate Azure monitors. We try to be on time as much we can. One of the key advantages of using the modern cloud that you have a lots of hybrid capabilities, and the monitoring is one of them. So Azure Monitor have a capability to collect data from various resources and put them into the monster database that called Log Analytics. Log Analytic workspaces are the storage point where you can store data from on-premises and cloud in many other environments. It's not only collecting data from VMs, it can collect data from operating systems, guest operating system, virtual machine environment, PaaS, SaaS applications, databases, and many more. And appliances allow you to the robust SQL language to query the data across relevancy, visualize the data, take actions against this data by using matrices and auto-scaling capability. Also, you can visualize that one in your favorite tools. So it's a unified monitoring tool that can integrate across platform. What does it mean? It means that Azure monitors provide you a capability to gain a container and a virtual machine insights out there. Azure monitors are by defaultly integrated in Azure out there. Azure monitor provide you metrics and virtualizations to quickly quantify the information that is available or collected from the resource. It helps you to do a deep infrastructure monitoring and also deep application monitoring about the performance of application and understanding a service level problems and issues that may occur on the infrastructure out there. You can trigger items that basically out there. So I can trigger action based on the collected logs and take actions if the certain threshold or matrices have reached certain critical points. Log analytics can help us to collect data for Windows and also for Linux virtual machines as well. If you basically host a virtual machine in a cloud, if I go here and host a virtual machine in a cloud, I already have one. So if I quickly go and host, click on my virtual machine that is in a cloud, and I have one of them is running. The Azure monitors are by defaultly integrated as well. So you can go to the application insights that is by defaultly integrated. You have to enable just an extension. So once you basically click on that one, you basically install the application inside extension on a VM. In the same fashion, you can enable that one for on-premises as well. And then this particular solution will start collecting matrices and data as well and storing that one and allow you to monitor your data and understand the consumption and all the telemetries that you want to get out there, like CPU form percentage. All right. And I can take actions and I can set alerts and trigger different type of actions, sending emails, scalability, and many others. And these tools help us to see the connectability and the performance as well. So I have a capability to find all the relevant data in a single pane and take lots of actions out there. I can not only monitor, manage data in cloud, I can have a capability to implement that one in a hybrid scenario as well. So Azure Monitor can work widely with the hybrid scenarios as well, which means that I can download log analytics application on premises and connect that one with my virtual machines that I am running on premises and collect the data in the same fashion like I did for the on premises. So if you have a log analytics workspace, which is basically part of the Azure Monitor, here we go, log analytics workspace. I must have at least one. So if you have a log analytics workspace, you can connect different data sources out there. So you do have an agent management here. And under the log analytic workspace, you can connect these agents out there. And you can install these agents for Windows and also for Linux servers. And once you install those agents, they can start collecting data and they can collect data from on-premises as well. But if you are running a Windows Admin Center on your compute machine, if you're running a Windows Admin Center on your compute machine, you can enable the complete process by just one single click and start collecting these telemetries and monitor them directly from Azure monitors in the cloud with the unification. And also you can find lots of telemetries directly inside your admin center. So these are some highlights and goodness that you can bring from Azure Cloud out there. However, there are few extra stuff available from management perspective. Azure do offer Azure Automation Account and Azure update management that also help you to unifiedly run the update and desired state configuration in the cloud. Azure Security Center and Defender can help you to create a hybrid secure cloud security posture management solution against your environment that's running in a Windows in a cloud and running Windows on premises for servers. So if you want to enable the monitors, you can literally just click this, sign up for the Azure, and you can literally just by using these basic options, you can define all your tasks and configure them according to your requirement. So, and the process is a browser-based process. Process is very simplified, and I don't remember let me try one more time. I don't remember AC500 demo 86. Let's try this. So we are just wrapping up here, and absolutely, absolutely, and we can just sign in our admin center here, and we can just click here connect. If we do not have any firewall issue, we have some firewall issues here, but if we have, we can just connect here. So the connection process is very simple. So thank you for joining us. I hope so you enjoyed the session here so far. And that's all. I tried to highlight all major goodness of Azure Advanced Administration and Hybrid Implementation. And I hope so you enjoyed it. And I'm now handing over to Leela. So Leela, please.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we are going to have a question and answer session here really quick. But before we get to that, we're just going to take a quick moment. We're going to hear from Sognik. Sognik is our vendor marketing manager, and he's going to introduce some promotions and webinar related courses. So go ahead and get your questions into the questions panel, and we'll do our best to get to as many of those as we can. It's a pretty broad topic, so there was a lot of information to get through today.
Hello, everyone. Is my screen visible?
It is.
Perfect. Thank you. I'd just like to take a short, quick moment of all the participants' time. We really appreciate everyone taking out the time to join us in this insightful session today. As a gift of gratitude, we have put together an insightful resource called the event handout. Available for all the participants here today. And I'd like to just give a quick run through of what you can expect to find in this collateral. First up, you'd find all the topics that are covered as part of this document. Everything is hyperlinked, so feel free to explore by using the links listed here. One of the key things that we'd like to bring your attention to is Netcom Learning is proud to announce that we are the winner of the 2022 Microsoft Learning Partner of the Year award from Microsoft. We were chosen among 3,900 plus nominations submitted from more than 100 countries worldwide. So we really want to assure you that you are in safe hands when you are continuing your skilling journey with Netcom Learning. Quick facts about us. As you know, that we are the #1 partner, training partner across the globe right now for this year from Microsoft. We have serviced over 80% of the Fortune 1000 companies. We do have a significant presence and collaboration with the US government, having served over 100 plus US military bases. In total, we have trained over 14,000 plus unique enterprise customers and accounts, among which from where we have trained more than 150,000 total professionals on various IT and business training solutions. We do enjoy a very good customer experience and feedback, with 96% of our customers recommending us for their skilling needs. Our trainings are delivered by a portfolio of over 1,000 plus certified instructors, and we are also recognized by the IT training, by the trainingindustry.com as top 20 IT training company. We are an authorized training partner for all the major industry leaders currently out there, starting from Microsoft to AWS, Cisco, Confia, PMI, Axelos, EC Council, Red Hat, Adobe, and Autodesk. So just to put it slightly in a single sentence, we are the one-stop shop for all your skilling needs across technologies, across vendors. We are your go-to partner. As part of this collateral, you'd find the session recording link for today's session in case you want to come back and revise and brush up your the knowledge that you gathered here today, feel free to use this link to access the recording. As an exclusive benefit to all the participants joining us today, we have created your Netcom 365 Learner portals. All you need to do is access and and activate your portals using the link listed here. It is your go-to place for all things related to your skilling journey, right from registration management, assessments, instructor evaluations, and course management. All the courseware that you are entitled to as part of today's session, the Microsoft official coursewares that you'd be getting would be accessible from this portal as well. So make sure to go ahead and activate your portals to enjoy all the benefits of today's training session. I'd like to quickly take you over some of the official Microsoft training and certification offers that we have going on right now. First up, for the enterprises, we do have the Microsoft Skilling Program. It is a comprehensive offering across Azure Security, Microsoft 365, Dynamics 365, and Power Platform. It is the ideal go-to place for all the enterprise customers. Our customers do love this program, and we'd like to invite you to come join and explore this opportunity with us. Feel free to schedule your free consultation today, and our learning consultants are going to connect with you, understand your skilling requirements, and prepare a highly optimized and specific skilling plan that fits your specific requirements and needs across the entire portfolio of Microsoft. Of course, when you associate with us, you unlock some great perks and benefits like exclusive enterprise discounts up to 80% on your learning plan deployment. You get access to our Netcom 365 portal for the decision makers as well, which comes back with insightful analytics of your learner's journey. Some facts about certifications. I'm sure our instructor is going to cover this as well. We highly recommend that the certification is an essential part of your skilling journey. So when you are engaging in your training sections, you should always complete it with your certification. Certification is a symbol of your credibility as a learner. It is a validation of your skills from the industry leader, which is Microsoft, and it really enhances your credibility as a professional, your employability. But if you are an employer and a decision maker, it really does give you a lot of return on your investments when you think about from a decision maker perspective. So if you have a team training them on Microsoft technologies, you would like that assurance that the training really did make a change in the skilling, in the knowledge levels and the skill levels of your employees. So feel free to explore our free official Microsoft ebook called The Win-Win of Certification. It takes you, it is rich with data and insights on how certifications do create a truly win-win situation for both the employees as well as the business decision makers and employers. Feel free to access it. It is available. The link to it is available in your handout. We do have an exclusive government program running right now. We understand it's almost the end of FY 2022 training budget allocation season for the federal clients. We do have, as I mentioned, we have significant customer base within the government sector. So if you are a federal company, an organization, and you do have funds that you need to allocate for your training budgets, Netcom Learning is your ideal partner of choice for that. We are DoD 8140 compliant, and we do provide a lot of interesting tools to park your training budgets and make sure you can utilize those across 12 months of time with the flexibility and the sense of confidence with which Netcom Learning delivers to training. You can rest assured that you are in good hands and your employees are getting the best possible skilling experience in the industry. We would like to discuss our Netcom Plus subscription. It is very straightforward. It's a subscription model available for as low as $2,999 for learner per year. If you are an enterprise having a team of more than 10 members, the cost comes down to around $2,500 per learner. You get, as part of the subscription, access to 350 plus training classes, the full-fledged authorized trainings, including 60 official Microsoft courses, and your scope of the training ranges beyond Microsoft. So you can choose trainings from AWS, Cisco, CompTIA, and many more for the entirety of 12 months that you are subscribed with us. The Learning Passport is a flexible team training package designed specifically for organizations who have a sizable employee base and would require a central fluid training fund. So once you invest your training funds with Netcom Learning Passport, you get access to over 4,000 plus official courses, basically the entire official Netcom learning training portfolio, redeemable across 12 months, and it increases your training fund value by over 100%. Recommended courses and certifications. So this slide is going to be particularly helpful for you based on your specific topic that is covered here today. The hybrid cloud training, particularly for the Azure professionals. All the relevant courses and certifications from Microsoft are hyperlinked here, mentioned here. Feel free to go through it wherever you are, whether on the fundamentals level or you want to explore and expand your skills following the role-based certifications. So all you need to do is just go ahead and click on the topic that you are interested in, and you would be landing on our dedicated page with the detailed course outlines, prerequisites, and other information. We do recommend you to register for our upcoming master classes as well. We do have an upcoming master class on Microsoft 365 and another one on Azure IoT. We highly encourage everyone to take part in these sessions as well. With that, I'd like to thank everyone for taking part in today's session and handing it back to you, Leela. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. So we are going to actually go back to Usama for a moment. He does have a little bit more to share with us. I know we're running long on the session, but as we said, there is a playback for any of those that need to get off now. But Usama, I'm going to go ahead and share the screen with you again so you can let us know. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So I realized there was a little bit of your presentation that you were kind of got cut short on trying to watch the time, but we just have decided to go ahead and do that now.
Thank you. Thank you. So thank you for letting me connect here. So this is basically a continuation out there, as I have demonstrated so much content out there, because these are the two detailed topics that need a very dedication out there. So many people have these questions in mind throughout the training, that it's better fast out there. How I can fast more information, how I can access more information. So what's the next step? What I can do, how I can master these topics that I have just discovered here, how I can do a hands-on and use these technologies as a skill in my workplace. The next step is to the continuous learning out there. So continue learning within a hands-on lab and Microsoft certification. It gives you not only star on your CV, it gives the great confidence out there. So Microsoft will offer you a role-based certification out there. So it stands out that you can have become more skilled and more highlighted and more prominent and recognized in your organization, have a more confidence and the cost saving. Just to be clear, one thing out there, as per statistics, the organization, 70% of an organization whom basically face the challenges and the failure in the cloud, not because of the cost or not because of on-premises complexities. The most migration projects or most projects being failed is because only one reason, because their staff are not trained. They do mistakes in the cloud. When you do mistake in the cloud, it costs you way more than what it used to be on premises. So using these courses and these techniques for you and for your colleagues and for your management teams can be really beneficial. So you can earn certifications out there. And you can earn Microsoft badge that can basically a digital token that you can show on your application out there. So you have a more increased visibility as well. Second important thing, that you can go for a certification, get a 20% more productive, and allow you to get lots of a complete step-by-step guide and content as well. You will get this handbook. You can download this handbook out there, which basically talk about all the training mindsets and how you can use that one for implementations and other segments out there. If you talk about this specific to our workload, the thing that we have talked about it, that your training journey. So Microsoft recommend that you should be starting your journey for infrastructure as service product as a fundamental by using AZ900. If you guys are new to this course, if you want to explore more world of Azure, you should start with an AZ900. AZ900 gives the great foundation that you can start your cloud journey or your certification journey. Now, Microsoft is more focusing on the role-based examination. So in a Windows administration category, Microsoft recently introduced two new exams that called AZ800 and AZ801. 800 is a core exams. Both of them are associate level exams, and you can have a chance for the training registered with us and attempt these exams and attempt these certification to not only master, also have a hands-on experience on it. So these role-based exams, it's basically instructor lead trainings out there. So what are the advantage you will get? First of all, you get the highlights and able to access lots of official and tailor-made content, hands-on lab, interactive session, real-life case studies, so you can map things. One of the biggest challenge implementing a Windows workload, it's environment. It's a case study, it's a scenario, because you have to implement scenario like Active Directory, domain services, and etc. All this will be provided by these courses that we basically instructor lead trainings and interactive discussions, and the complete Netcom portal and the recording will be available. We do provide you lots of hands-on material, and during the classroom we share tons of extra materials, references, architecture diagrams, scripts, and the video recordings that can help you to continue your learning even the classroom as well. And we try to provide you one of the world's best priority support for customer service. So please explore these options with us for hybrid implementation and become a partner of ours in a hybrid journey with Microsoft. So there's another important thing that Microsoft used to have a certification that lasts for the 2 years, and then there was no renewal process in past. But now Microsoft tried to make sure that your skills are validated all the times and new, because the pace of technology and the way that things change in the cloud on a very rapid basis. So you have to renew a certification after every 6 or 1 month, 1 year after. And it's free. When you get a receive notice from Microsoft, and you can go and learn, even you can find a question and answer. It's a way that Microsoft that push you that you can go and learn. So you can go and learn about it. So it's a pretty straightforward process. And that's it. Get a train and get certificate. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so now we are going to go ahead and hop into our question and answer session. Thank you guys so much for sticking in with us here. Sagnik, I am not sure if you have to jump off soon, but and I am not sure if you covered this and I missed it. Is there a certificate or for participation today or anything like that that we can let our attendees know how to claim?
Yes, Leela. So all these resources would be available in the participants Netcom 365 portal, from where they would be accessing their Microsoft official courseware on the same. So it would be available in the portal. You don't need to activate the
Thank you so
account
much
for that. Thank you.
Okay, and then our next question is let's see. So somebody said they enrolled in some training, but only received an email with no updates on Netcom enrollment in the class. Will that affect or does that affect if they will be receiving the email certificate?
The certificates for today's session would be accessible from the Netcom 365 portal. In case you missed the emails, please feel free, please make sure to check your spam folders as well. Sometimes because these emails come with the access links, so sometimes the email provider, the service provider puts them in the spam. So please make sure to check there as well, in case you miss any communication from us.
That is excellent advice. Okay, so then our next question, this is from a little earlier on in our presentation. If my VM is Linux, can I use this extension? I'm not sure if you're...
Yes, you can. I got the question. If your VM is running Linux out there, so many of the things that you can do within Azure monitors and Azure automation in a hybrid environment. So even you can, first of all, hypervisor do host both kind of virtual machine on premises, and you can have a physical machine. Azure monitors, Azure automation, and Azure security services like Azure Defender for Cloud work both for Linux and Windows, and you have a different distribution and different agents are available which you can configure to collect telemetries. I hope so I able to answer your question.
Wonderful. And then let's see. Our next question is, they wanted to know, they said they forgot to answer the survey because they came in late. Actually, the survey is something that you will be given at the end of the presentation. When you go to log off out of the webinar is when you will see the survey. And that same person who was asking about the email was having some troubles. If you just want to send us a message directly to webinar@netcomlearning.com, then we can help you out from there. That'll and then our next question, we're just going to take a couple more just because we are going a little late on time. If an organization wants to manage a hybrid identity, where can they host ADDS or ads?
Okay, so if organization want to host in an identity in a hybrid environment, they have a multiple option to host in an ADDS. They can host ADDS into the cloud out there as infrastructure as service, so in Azure. So you can host that one as in a virtual machine in the cloud and integrate your environment. And you can also host that one on premises as well. So defining and connecting that one with an express route. So it depends that what kind of architecture that you're trying to comply with it. So it's a requirement. So the both options are available. That means you can either host ADDS either in Azure Virtual Network, or either you can extend the on-premises ADDS into the cloud as well. So you have these two options are available. If you want Azure Virtual Machines to be accessed Azure ADDS, you have to host that one into the local network out there. So you can host the ADDS domain controller in the virtual network.
Thank you. Okay, and last question. Let's see. If an organization wishes to use LDAP, which directory service should be used?
It should be used because there are two options out there in this particular scenario as well. First of all, Azure Active Directory does not support LDAP. It's only provided by Active Directory domain services. And Active Directory domain services can be available in a two configuration. As infrastructure as service, you host in a VM, and another way that you can host a PaaS platform that called Azure Active Directory domain services, which can also provide you LDAP capability in a most serverless fashion.
Okay, wonderful. So with that, we are out of time. We went a little over so we could get to some of those questions, but we are going to go ahead and wrap up. We do want to just remind you really quick again that there will be that short survey at the end before leaving the webinar. Please take a moment to fill it out. It does help us understand your learning experience and improve our future offerings and sessions. And once again, the directions is it's on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being outstanding, 1 being poor. And we want to thank you all for joining us today, taking time out of your busy schedules. And if you do come up with any additional questions, once again, you can feel free to send them to us at webinar@netcomlearning.com at any time. And we hope that you all found today's webinar to be informative. We look forward to seeing you back here with us very soon. Also, feel free to tell your friends and colleagues about our webinars and other courses. Once again, thank you, everyone, and have a great day. Thank you, Usama, and thank you, Sagnik.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.